by.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Good morning and welcome to the pre-dawn gloriousness of Djuma Private Game Reserve here in the Sabi Sand, South Africa. My name is Brent Leo Smith. I have Dangerous Dave the Dish on camera today with me, and we are searching for Queen Karula, the dominant female leopard in these parts. And it is an absolutely spectacular winter's morning. It's about 13 degrees Celsius, 55 or 56 Fahrenheit. I'm not quite sure which one. So for us, quite chilly, but the good thing about the cold is the leopards might be on the move. So we're hoping to find Queen Karula. We're checking the southern regions. I know James and Jean-Ray, who are on the other vehicle, are heading to the north, looking for lions. And of course, we have Kirsten and Louise in our ears. And they live in our ears most of the days. So they'll be feeding through questions to us from you, the viewer. And if you want to know how to send us questions, it's hashtag SafariLIVE on Twitter, or use the email address questions, believe it or not, it is questions, at wildearth.tv. And it is an absolutely spectacular morning. And Dangerous Dave the Dish and myself are very excited to have you on the back of our safari vehicles for a live African safari. Now, if you watch my head and it's craned off to the side, it means I'm reading my morning newspaper. And when I say that, I'm looking for footprints of the various animals, and in this case, particularly the female leopard that has passed or possibly passed through these parts overnight. Now there is an interesting track. It is, well, there's two tracks here actually. There's a female leopard track, but that's quite old, and there's a much more recent track. Let me just have, actually, sorry, before I make a whoopsie, I nearly made a whoopsie. I needed to look at it closely. I nearly lied to you, and that's not very good if I'm lying. Let me just put some light on it. Is my light on? Yes. Okay. Let me show you this, because this is very, very interesting. Now, it's got to be very interesting to get me out of the car, away from my pink hot water bottle, to show you this morning. Dave and I actually both have matching pink hot water bottles this morning. Oh dear, I'm going to just unplug that. It's buried under the scarf I stole from Jamie. Now, Dave, can you see these little tracks here? Yes? Now, very interesting enough, we've got little paw tracks here, and you can see there's some visible claw marks. But the giveaway about what species this is you have a look, looks like someone's taken a branch and's been dusting the road. Can you see these little lines in the sand, Dave? Maybe I'll move the vehicle a bit closer, and maybe Dave can go straight down. It could be a bit difficult from there, but you need to see the little lines to know what creature it is. Now, there's two creatures that have very similar footprints, but the one has those little lines. Let's try from opposite it. There we go. I think we'll get it there, Dave. Let's have a look. Okay, there we go. No. You're looking at my Neiman mark at the moment. So come out a bit. Come to the right. There. So there we go. You can see the little footprints, and you see all those scrape marks in the sand. Now that told me what creature that is. And what creature could possibly cause such scrape marks in the sand? I think I'm going to let you guys work that out. So that's the first morning quiz. Who can tell me what little mammal made those tracks, and with those very particular little scrape marks next to it? I have to have a morning meeting with Ryan now. So, but you guys think about that, and if you know the answer, questions at wildearth.tv or hashtag SafariLIVE. Good morning, good sir. Yes, I'm back. It was very, very nice. That's quite a beard. Look, if we're going to get Dave, there we go, zoom on Ryan. Ryan looks colder than I am, and he's got that massive beard, and he's obviously got it for warmth. I am for.
Listen, last night I had Corilla's one there in the Milwaukee. I'm going to head there again and check.
Okay, cool.
But there was no adult.
Yeah, we had tracks of her coming on top of the drag marks of that hyena that stole her impala kill there. And she followed those drag marks, but we lost them around Leadwood somewhere.
Okay, well, if she's going to be chasing me, see, that's fine. I'll go check if she hasn't come back to where that.
Cool. Well, good luck.
Shit.
We'll see you for a social occasion one of these evenings.
Short myself is af vanaand, want hy gaan af donderdag.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so they took it from Chitwa, the Mnisi Joncha, and then she followed the Mnisi Nkonzo. But that was yesterday morning, so she could be anywhere. Bye. So yeah, that's Ryan from Arathusa. He's the head ranger at Arathusa, so a very important man. And a very nice man, apart from his quite scary appearance with that beard. So Ryan is also looking for Karula. I think I need to get my quizzes a bit more difficult this morning. Joey and Gail, you are spot on. It is a porcupine. It is the largest rodent in Africa, the southern porcupine, and those little drag marks, of course, made by its quills. Very well done. That's quite impressive. Dave didn't know. No. I think we need a Dave stick. Just tap Dangerous Dave the dish every time he gets something wrong. Now, as I said, it's pre-dawn. The sun hasn't popped over the eastern horizon yet, and it is probably, well, it's a tough one, but I think pre-dawn and dawn are my favorite time of the day, more so than sunset. Sunsets are incredibly beautiful, but I just really love the smells and the fresh tracks that you find in the early morning. While we continue to meander to the east, looking for tracks of the Queen Karula, let us go see what Commander Bond has been up to for the beginning of this pre-dawn safari.
Good morning, everybody. All we've been doing is trying to stay desperately warm here. I'm told that it's 13 degrees Celsius. This is a patent untruth. I suggest it's probably closer to around 8 degrees Celsius, which is very cold in Fahrenheit as well as it is in Celsius. It's probably about 43 degrees Fahrenheit. You're most welcome on the back of Wendy, this recalcitrant old bat that we are forced to drive around this reserve on. She looks great, but underneath her aging and unfortunately not rusting because its aluminium frame is an engine so deeply irksome and horrible that I'm going to stop insulting her now. We are as live as Brent Leo Smith, so please do talk to us during the course of the next 3 hours. Hashtag SafariLIVE or questions at wildearth.tv. Now, we've come along the northern boundary. There were lions over that way at Buffelshoek Dam yesterday. They were chasing beefaloes around. They had the cubs with them there, so that's one port of call. And then, of course, there was the male and the female that Jamie had around here yesterday. And I just want to show you, we couldn't find them last night. And I think that they've murdered something down here. I'm just going to reverse a little bit so that Jandre, who is on camera today, hello Jandre, say hello to everybody, well done. So the Jandre can show you the vultures that are sitting in the tree here. They're quite far from the road, and in Wendy I'm afraid we won't have a signal in there. So I'm just going to show you where those are. It's so deep in the drainage that I suspect that they've killed something small in there. Those vultures have moved in, and they may well still be in here because their tracks don't go south across the, at least north across the boundary. So that's a prospect that we can go and have a look at a little bit later. You will be pleased to know that Wendy is getting an increase in her amperage or whatever it is. She's getting a new amplifier this week, and we're hoping, therefore, that she will have slightly less black screen. The inescapable faults of her engineering, however, cannot be remedied. I'm being so deeply insulting of her, of course, because she's spent so much time the last little while broken down, travelling to and from Johannesburg. She is quite old. She's had to work quite hard. She's still a bat. We're going to start off our search at Bivelshoek Dam, which is not too far around the corner here. I'm going to drive slowly along the road and hopefully see one or two tracks. There are tracks. I think that these ones are from yesterday, just prior to the great chase. Now, I don't know if any of you were around yesterday. Can you see those tracks at all, Andre?
Your body is.
Why don't I get out of the car instead of being a lazy git? Yesterday, everybody, I'm hoping these are not very fresh. Of course, I might be devoured in front of you.
Good morning,
No, be quiet, sorry. 1 second.
Your door, please, Jan.
Oh, for goodness sakes.
Thank you.
Right, can you see here? Can you see here? Right, here are tracks of the female lion. And I'm pretty sure these are from yesterday. Now, I don't know if you were on drive yesterday, and if you weren't, well, you should have been, because Jamie had an amazing sighting of 3 lionesses chasing a buffalo, jumping on its back, and unfortunately for them, not killing it, very fortunately for the buffalo. We don't know where they are now, but this is around about where they were. Now, the one easy way to tell whether this is fresh or not, of course, is the fact that you can see this dark bit here. You see that, Andre?
Yep.
That is dew, it's moisture from the night. It's settled on top of the track sometime during the night. So that's a very obvious way of telling that it isn't fresh. The other way of telling it isn't fresh, of course, is that there are vehicle tracks all over these lion tracks up and down the road. That might be even more obvious, but let's pretend that we were wandering through a deep wilderness where there were no roads. Right, let me get back in the car. It's quite difficult to move with all of this stuff on my body, of course. There we go. And, yeah, it's doubly difficult, of course, because I can't actually put my fingers into the fingers of the gloves because, well, they're just not very warm, so I have to ball my fists. While I get myself back with my blankie on, let's go across to Brent and find out if he's found anything yet.
I thought I'd just found something, alas, not. Just hyena tracks so far. So we're coming down towards the Moati River, and there's some quite beautiful scenery popping through there. As you can see, the sun is illuminating the clouds, but it still hasn't quite risen above. And if we listen, isn't it just spectacular? Now, we can hear a golden-tailed woodpecker. Heard some francolin calling shortly, earlier. There you go, that very unattractive call is that of a very pretty bird, the golden-tailed woodpecker. Great go-away birds in the distance. It's a go-away bird alarm call, but it's an alarm call for a predatory bird, not for a mammal. Wow! Wow! And in the distance we heard Ryan start up. He was doing the same thing as us, just listening carefully. Do you hear that? Yeah, so Dave, swing around. Now, it is so quiet in the dawn, I can actually hear the francolins digging in the leaf litter. So zoom where you are, Dave. A little bit to the left. There we go, center frame. There we go, a little crested francolin. Look how puffed up it is from the cold. And no one's hopping. It's done itself an injury. I've actually seen a one-legged francolin before. I wonder if this is a one-legged francolin. Come on, hop. It's got an injury to its one foot, and that's probably why we heard it. It was making more noise than they normally do. And see how puffed up it is. it's cold. I wonder what could have injured a franklin's leg. Normally, those type of injuries happen trying to escape a predator of sorts. And, of course, it successfully evaded the predator this time. But now that it's on one leg, it might not be so lucky the next time. Oh, are we causing a traffic jam? There you go, just go around. Hoppa! Now, right here is a very interesting thing. X-Ranger, you're spot on. Where does Dangerous Dave get the extra nickname, the Dish? Did he drop a dish, or do the ladies think he's all right? Well, it's because the ladies think he's all right. So now, Dave, I'm taking control of your camera. There we go. Oh, no, he's trying to make himself look pretty. There we go. There's Dangerous Dave the Dish. Look at the dimples, ladies. I know you ladies love dimples. There we go. That's why he's called the Dish. The ladies think he's a little bit better than all right. Okay, so we've seen... I've now managed to really make a mess of this ear thingy. Let's do that. Ugh. Okay, so we've stopped at this particular termite mound many times, and at the beginning of winter, we used to stop here, and you would see steam rising out of this termite mound. And it's got so cold, and remember, termites like to keep their abode at about 32 degrees Celsius, which is the optimum temperature for growing fungus. And you can see the dark coloration here. And if I touch it, it's actually still a little bit moist. So the termites have actually closed this chimney because of the winter to keep the inside at that optimum temperature. That's amazing. Oh, it's still so soft and moist. Now, there's still a few little holes, so there's still air coming in, but if I look around the whole massive termitaria, they've closed that hole, they've closed this hole, they've closed that hole. So they actually only have really tiny little breather holes open, like these ones at the moment. So tiny breather holes, like that. And they've closed all their main vents to keep all that glorious warmth in. Now, I have seen hornbills, especially on new workings like this, it's a bit early for them, they'll come break it open to get the heat, and then they'll sit over it. Ooh, and get warm. Well, it's not quite cold enough for that this morning. It's going to sort of drop below 10 degrees C, I reckon, before the hornbills start. Oh, and while we've been sitting talking nonsense, the sun has actually popped over the horizon. We're going to look at it through a torchwood tree at the moment. A Balanites morgami. So we're going to keep perusing the south, and while we do that, Commander Bond has made his way all the way to the Buffalo's Hook Waterhole. Let's go see what's out and about there.
Nothing is out and about, I'm afraid, here, everybody. It is deathly quiet, but that sometimes means that there's death around, and that could be in the form of lions. This is not too far, of course, from where Jamie had those lionesses yesterday chasing the beefaloes, so we're going to look around Buffalo's Hook Dam for a little while and just see what we can find. It's a rather beautiful morning, as you can see. There's the sun about to peep up over the horizon. Lots of doves flying into that tree there. And not much in the water, you can see. And there was a grey heron that took offence to us disturbing his morning reverie. He's flown off going, wah, wah. They have very unattractive calls to the herons. So we're just going to sit here for a little while and see what we can hear. And then I'm going to go and look around the northern section of the dam and see if we can't find something over there, because I wonder if those little cubbies aren't stashed somewhere in there, and then I can go and make more embarrassing sounds at them like I did during our, I don't know if you saw our clip of the from Fireside Chat yesterday evening, but Brent and I made extremely unmanly sounds the first time we saw those little lion cubs. And I'm going to hopefully avoid doing that again. I didn't realize that that's what I was doing until I saw the video clip. We became totally beside ourselves. And there, everybody, comes the Earth's very own sun, our very own star that doth warm our faces during the course of the day. Isn't that nice? I might have to take another rank average photograph. Can't stop myself. Let's just try and decide or describe to you what we can hear. It's a very quiet, subdued sort of morning chorus, which is completely normal for this time of the year. There's a bearded woodpecker, that's what you can hear there. And then it was making its territorial tapping. It finds a nice hollow piece of knobthorn and hammers away on that. And in the background, one or two grey go-away birds, a few yellow-fronted canaries swizzling away in the background. But always very subdued in the winter time. Hello, Brian. You say, is my sense of smell sharper in the early morning? I'm just taking a picture of the sun for my mother. You know how she loves them. Brian, I don't think my sense of smell is sharper, no. I think that the air is definitely fresher, though. Would you like to see my photograph, Andre?
Yes.
It's very horrible, but I mean, I quite like it. My mother will think it's nice. She thinks everything I do is nice.
James, you have vastly improved.
Thank you very much, Andre. That's very kind of you. Brian, I don't think my sense of smell is sharper, but I definitely think that the air is fresher, which makes for easier smelling. I think definitely in the morning time when the air is, I don't know, I'm not sure what physical property of the air makes it easier to smell things in the morning, but yes, I do think it's easier to smell things now, possibly because in the middle of the day there's heat, and so any kind of chemicals in the air that we would be smelling are probably rising up before they reach our noses. I have found that living out here in the bush has made my sense of smell that much more keen. Let's just go a little bit forward. Genre, on this tambuti tree here landed a brown-hooded kingfisher, which is not a common thing for us to see. They're not uncommon here, but I think he's gone, I'm afraid. He goes, "Pity for you, pity for you." No, I don't see him there. Right, our little plan now, our temporary plan, or our sort of immediate plan, is to go round down there. We're going to just check around the northern end of the dam and see if we can't find something in those bushes there. I didn't see any tracks crossing north over the boundary, but I didn't go all the way to the eastern edge. If we don't find anything there, we'll go back around to the sort of far eastern section. It's a glorious, glorious morning. After yesterday's rather sort of foul, blustery, grey conditions, this is a real relief. Put my gloves back on. There's a lion-coloured bush, which I nearly stopped to show you. Now, let's see what we've got down here now. It could be anywhere here, obviously. We need to watch the road for the tracks. We need to listen out for the telltale sound of lion cubs playing. There's some virtual starlings there. There they are. And James Richard, you say most viewers as well made some very unmanly sounds when you first saw those little lion cubs. I know, it was quite amazing watching that little clip that we had for Fireside Chat yesterday, and how Jamie did make a sort of slight giggling sound, and then she held it together beautifully. And Brent and I were absolutely useless, just gurgling. Just trying to find one or two termites, no doubt, in the middle of that dung. That's the Birchall starling, everybody, one of 3 glossy starlings we get here. The others being the Cape glossy and the greater blue-eared glossy. I'm not going to show you the difference now because I think we should get on and see if we can find some lions. Tracks. Lions going this way. Well, that's a spot of luck, as long as they're not going the other way. So they will come and down and have a drink here, even though this water is, well, I mean, you wouldn't put your face anywhere near it. But for lions and hyenas and leopards and even buffalo, they can handle this kind of fairly rancid water, and we often have questions, how on earth are they able to drink it? Because we as human beings have become very used to drinking very pure water. And the simple answer is that, of course, our bellies are just not used to drinking bacteria-rich water, whereas animals out here are. And there are many parts of the world where you can't get very clean water, and people survive just fine eating. There are cub tracks here. People survive just fine drinking fairly rancid water, as long as your tummy is used to it. No, we're not going to go bashing through the bushes here. We're just going to have a quick look around, and then we'll go back out onto the road. Well, this is round about where we thought they were yesterday. Let's just drive up a little bit around through here. It's always nice driving at this speed at this time of the morning, of course, because it is much warmer to drive slowly like this as opposed to herring along where it is very freezing. All right, we're just going to have a little fossick around here. Let's go and get an update from Brent and find out what he's managed to find himself.
So unfortunately, apart from enjoying my tea immensely, man, I haven't found too much. I just heard from the guys to the south of us that Kurila's tracks with the cubs are heading east, so parallel to where we are now, but I think... Oh, sorry, I've knocked my speaking device off. There we go. That should be a bit better. There we go. And so she might pop out somewhere here, but I don't think so. Unfortunately, I think she is to the south. And we had one male lion track going across our southern boundary as well. Other than that, just a lot of the little things of the evening. Lots of civet tracks and white-tailed mongoose and porcupine and honey badger. All the little critters. Here we have... Oh, no, they all decided to fly away. But they're making lots of noise, the babblers. Let me just go forward slightly. And at the back, there we go, Dave's got them there. You can see them fluttering around. Arrow-marked babblers. And a fork-tailed drongo. He's a member of the flycatcher family. We can hear a woodpecker pecking wood. How much wood could a woodpecker peck if a woodpecker could peck wood? I'm going to see if we can find said woodpecker. Sounds like one of the smaller species, maybe a cardinal, just from the noise it's making. I'm just going to gaze to see if I can work out where the woodpecker was pecking. I can hear him. Ah, got him. Okay, I'm just going to move forward for you, Dave. Okay. Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, so left, down, right at the base of that tree. It's not what I thought it was. Oh, this is a good one. Look at that. Oh, woodpeckers have the most amazing physiological adaptations to be able to bash their head incessantly at wood. There's basically a shock absorber at the end of its beak. Otherwise, it would literally rattle its bane loose. Now, who can tell me which woodpecker this is now? This is a good one for the birders. It's not one of the smaller woodpeckers that I initially thought. It's just pecking in some relatively... Ooh, ooh, ooh. Look at that. Did you see that? Did you see his tongue come out? He's trying to get probably a wood borer beetle out of that hole it's been pecking. And they do use their tongue to sort of roll around in there to try grab the little borer larvae to take out. Now they've also got incredible hearing, so it's probably heard a borer larvae inside there, and that's what's causing it to peck at that particular spot. Look at that long pink tongue of its got. So I'm going to let you guys identify this woodpecker, and I'm actually going to keep watching it for a while. But while we do that, James has got another creature with an incredibly long tongue. Oh, sorry, no, you stuck with me, so you don't have the incredibly long-tongued creature. You're going to stick with this one. Well, as I said, if you know this woodpecker, let me know, and do that by sending me an email, questions@wildearth.tv, or you can use the hashtag SafariLIVE on Twitter. So now, James is back with that incredibly long-tongued creature, so let's go have a look what it is.
There was a giraffe, everybody, but it's a very deeply irksome giraffe. It doesn't seem to want to see us. So I'm going to just quickly turn here. And it's a roundabout where I'd sort of hoped to find the lions. And if you find a giraffe, they're normally very good at spotting lions. So I don't think there are any lions around here. Let's turn around. We'll just go through here. We'll get a lovely picture of him in that drainage line. You might lose our picture. If you do, I do apologize in advance. But please blame Wendy. He's a beautiful giraffe, large and dark. He's very handsome.
So Dave and I are actually just waiting here to see a kill. I'm going to see if a woodpecker manages to pull one of these borer larvae out of the variable bush willow it's feeding on. Oh, is that a good hole there? Look how it's using it, chipping away like you would with a, like you would if you had a little mallet, making the hole bigger. See, look at that. Look how it's removing it and widening the hole it wants to get into. Like a little axe. And it is not the woodpecker we heard calling earlier. It's not a golden-tailed woodpecker. It is another woodpecker, another one of the bigger species. So well done, Robin. It is indeed a bearded woodpecker. Now you can tell it's a bearded woodpecker by the very prominent black markings on its face. So on the side of the face and under the chin. Now a lot of the woodpecker species have similar markings, but a bearded woodpecker is the only one that really has the black on the side of the face. Golden-tailed woodpecker male will have red under its face. Look at him, he's really working on that particular hole. Come on, catch it. I mean, look how much that hole has grown just since we've been watching. Oh, oh. No, not quite yet. Oh, oh. Did he get it? Did he get it? Either it was a very small one, we couldn't see it, or there was no success. I'm going to let that woodpecker keep pecking wood, and we'll have a look. Oh, look at that. So, really working that variable bush willow. Probably doing it a bit of a favor, removing all those wood borer beetles. It is an incredibly gorgeous bird. Okay, I'm heading up the tree now. Now, like you can actually see those incredible claws on that woodpecker's foot. How they're able to hang on the wood like they do. And those, oh, off it goes. Those nails are almost longer than the toes themselves, giving them incredible grip. Now, Dave, let's have a look at what I was talking about here. So there's the golden-tailed woodpecker. You can see it's got the red below, and so if I swipe, there we go, there's the bearded woodpecker. You see those black facial markings on the side, very distinct, very, very distinct compared to the other woodpecker species. Okay, so we're going to keep maneuvering and onto, I think, the eastern boundary. It sounds like there's no updates from Cheetah Plains, so we're not going to dash off just down there just yet. Hi, Virginia. Now, Virginia is asking us, all the way from Kentucky, when do the migratory bird species come back, and which is the first? So normally around November, we might get some a little bit earlier. Now, one of the first, Now, one of the first to come back is actually not one of the more conspicuous ones, and it's quite often a few of the cuckoo species, and also the paradise flycatchers, also one of the ones, but they're not as obvious as sort of the woodlands and the woodlands kingfisher, carmine's bee-eater, European rollers, European bee-eater, but it's normally the paradise flycatchers. Oh, speaking of a flycatcher. No, okay, on that. Oh, where'd he go? Oh, he's still, okay, come down. There we go, he's just behind the branch. Oh, let's just move forward a bit. Hopefully it doesn't fly away. And that is one of the smallest flycatchers we get. Is he still there, Dave? You got him? Oh, no, that's the different bird, sorry, that's a fork-tailed drongo. The one I put, there, oh, there he goes there. there. Oh, in the beautiful light as well. Okay, you got him? Zoom. Onto that little bush, up a bit. Zoom, in the center frame. A little bit to the right. Up a little bit, there he is, hopping. There we go. A little chin spot batis. Oh, off it went, didn't give us the longest view. But one of the smallest flycatcher species we've got, with one of the most distinct calls. Now, if anyone can remember their children's nursery rhymes, oh, it's our friend again. It's probably the same woodpecker. Come out again. Oh, he's gone. But it was a bearded woodpecker, and it looked to be a male, so almost definitely the same one we've just been watching. So on average, you have a pair about every 400 hectares of bearded woodpeckers. But as we're talking about that little chin spot batis, one of the most distinct calls out here, and I said, if you remember your nurse or your children's songs, the call goes. Dave, do you know what that says? No, Dave. 3 blind mice. 3 blind mice. Okay, so we've now finally made it to the woods, our eastern edge of traverse, and we've had such a wonderful time going slowly and looking at all the little things this morning. I think we're going to keep doing that, and you know, when you look for the little things, sometimes the big things just appear. While we do that, let's go see how Commander Bond is faring in the west.
We had some leopard tracks going up and down this road, but I don't know how fresh they were, and they seem to be territorial markings, so I'm not going to try and find those. No further lion tracks coming across the boundary. We did see another chap from Bilfels Hook coming this way, so I don't think that they've crossed north out of the reserve, which is great news, and so we'll head further south once we get to the next road that we can turn south on. It's rather good news, really, I think. And then, of course, I did hear, as you were linking, I heard Brent Leo Smith attempting to whistle the call of the chin spot batis. Now, he and many others will tell you that it is the 3 blind mice. I've always found that a poor description, but that might be by musical training. It always grates me when I hear it, because 3 blind mice, of course, is each tone is a tone apart, right? 3 blind mice. 3 blind mice. Whereas a chin spot batis, well, the notes are just much closer together, and it's more. You hear the difference, Andre? Yes. Never mind. Go ahead, Bernie. Bernie's also driving up and down here. There's some tracks there. And they've been coming up and down, up and down. Copy. Thanks, Bern. I'm not sure that's true. Felicity in New Zealand, you say, are animals able to interpret each other's tracks in the same way that we are? No, I don't think so. I don't, and this is an interesting question. We've been having quite a few discussions about this sort of thing. I don't think that animals are necessarily able to follow each other's tracks at all from sight, but they can definitely do it from smell. And the best example, of course, is a tracker dog that you might use, you know, a tracker dog that you might use to find a criminal, for example. A criminal that's been running along, and you may well find that a dog can follow the scent of that criminal. And in the same way, I think you'll find that lions follow each other, and they follow other animals, and leopards certainly find wild dogs that way, I know that for sure. But I don't think that they can see each other's tracks necessarily. I'm not sure why I say that. It would seem Yeah, the thing with human tracking, or no, I mean with our tracking of animals, is that it's very much a deductive process. So it's a process of working things out and assessing different shapes and that sort of thing. And I'm just not sure that animals, A, need to do that, and B, necessarily have the cognitive powers to be able to do that. So, Felicity, I'm going to say no. I think it's largely from smell and probably from hearing as well. Now, we've come down the eastern track that goes towards Beefleshoek Dam. I have a nasty suspicion these lions are still in this very thick block over here. And that will be extremely difficult to get a vehicle into, but we might be lucky and just find them lying on the road. Watch your head here, everybody. The aerial. And so far, we've managed to maintain picture for more than 5 seconds. That's excellent. Long may that last. Jean-Marie, there's a little crested francolin there. There are a few of them. We're just going to have a listen here while we look at the crested francolins. Oh, Joey in Australia, you ask a very nice question. While we're looking at these crested francolins and listening to the wonderful call of the white-browed scrub robin going... Very nice. Joey, you say, after the great wildebeest migration in East Africa, what is the greatest migration of animals? What's the second greatest? Believe it or not, it's quite possible that the wildebeest migration of East Africa is not the greatest migration of animals in Africa. Now, there are unconfirmed reports of more than 2 million cob, white-eared cob I think they're called, running across the Sudan. They have got an enormous, in South Sudan, there's an enormous kind of inland delta, to access. I'm not sure how much of that you got, everyone, but South Sudan, big inland delta called the Sud. And the Sud apparently has these cob migrating through and over it in massive, massive numbers. But because, A, it's very inaccessible, and B, going to the Sudan is, well, it's an extreme sport, really. You don't go there unless you've got a special forces unit with you. Because of that, nobody really knows how true these reports are. So it's quite possible, Joey, that the second greatest migration in Africa is the wildebeest migration, where 2 million wildebeest migrate across the plains of East Africa on a yearly basis, following the rain and therefore the grass. But it is possible that there's an even bigger one of white-eared, I think it's white-eared cob, if I'm not mistaken, but I'll have a look. But they're sort of, I mean, they look a little bit like a waterbuck, I guess, like a red waterbuck, like a lechwe. I'll find you a picture as soon as we get back to Beefleshoek Dam. I found no further tracks through here. Anyway, time will tell, everyone, time will tell. Nice question, that, Joey. Animal migrations, of course, are a fascinating thing. And we used to get them here, of course. We used to get wildebeest migrating to and from this area when there were fewer people around and the rivers ran more annually up in the north, so around the Timbavati, and perennially down in the south here. And there used to be apparently a massive dust cloud. Every year you'd see this huge dust cloud of thousands, not hundreds of thousands and millions of wildebeest like you get in East Africa, but certainly thousands of wildebeest would migrate from the Sabi Sand area here up into the Timbavati. And they don't do that no more. Some blue waxbills calling here, of course, with Jean-Ray operating this very small lens. I don't think we're going to see them. There's just quite a few birds calling. There, Jean-Ray, we've got some white-crested helmet shrikes up in that silver cluster leaf tree. There they are. Did you hear that? It is the It is the chin spot batis. There we go. Anna-Marie, you want to know about the prolonged drought and its effect on the bird life here. Has it had an effect? Not yet. Will it? Yes, it quite possibly will. As we go, it's the same as with the mammals. As we go into the dry season, this is normal, but of course looks like a September landscape. It doesn't look like a July landscape, which means that when we get to September, the real business end of the dry season, that's when the animals are going to start to suffer, and the birds are included in that. Rondre, did you hear the difference there between 3 blind mice and that call? This one's going... Now, nowhere have I heard 3 blind mice. No. No, no, no. I pity the child of the ornithologist that goes to school singing 3 blind mice to the tone of the batis. Claire, I'm sorry, I missed your question. My earpiece popped out of my ear. It's back in now. Oh, Claire, you want to know if we have any sunbirds here? Claire, we do have sunbirds here. We have the white-bellied sunbird, most common. We have the Morocco sunbird, less common. I will show you pictures of these again once we get to the dam. And we have collared sunbird, very pretty, yellow birds. And then we have also... I'm leaving one out. You can sometimes find amethyst sunbird here, and then very seldom, because we don't really get aloes in this area, but if we did get aloes, you would find things like the scarlet-breasted sunbird, scarlet-chested, sunbird, astounding looking bird, with a black body and a very beautiful scarlet chest. Let me just pull up here. I don't see any further lion tracks. We'll just have a little bit of a listen, and I'll show you the pictures of the sunbirds. Let's stop over here. Underneath the shade of the torchwood tree. Sounds like a story, doesn't it, Jandre? Yes. Right, we're back at the dam. Not much going on here. I'll quickly show you a picture of these birdies. Sunbird, S for sunbird. Sunbird 410. Right, there they are. So the ones we get here, the white-bellied, very pretty. The collared, this very pretty yellow one there. Not the other ones on that page. There's this scarlet-chested, magnificent creature. It's possible that you could get an amethyst or black sunbird here. I've never seen one here, but there's no reason you shouldn't really get them here. And then the Morocco is this lovely iridescent bird. Really beautiful. So those are the ones we get here. And then let me quickly try and find you the cob. K for cob. See if I can find it in this book. K. Won't take too long, everybody. Be patient, please. Please be patient with me. K. I can't find one. Maybe it's with a K. This is embarrassing. I'm embarrassed, everyone. I'm sorry. I will find it. Here it is, cob. White-eared. Ha, I was correct. Just couldn't spell it. 274. Yes, there he is. He is actually related to the waterbuck. He's the same. There's the waterbuck. He's the same genus. So the cob is this thing here. That's him at the top. And it's in those great numbers that they migrate across the south of Sudan, across the Sud. Right. There are some Egyptian geese that are very cross with each other. They're having a spat, a family spat. He and she not in agreement over the quality of the food being provided. He is upset that she is happy to stay around here. He says that the algae is poor here. She says he's a fussy old git. He says, don't you dare turn your back on me. She says, I'll turn my back on you if I want. Yes, now it's getting, I can't really follow what's going on. They're having a very severe squabble. These two are not very good parents, everyone. They had 7 goslings around here just before it dried up in the end of November, and unfortunately they lost all 7 of them. They're also not very good Egyptian geese, because Egyptian geese are supposed to be vegans, of course. They're not supposed to eat meat. These two eat fish liberally. I've seen them swimming around here catching little tilapia and devouring them very happily. That's it. Don't fight. It's not worth it, everyone. Well done. That's it. Let peace reign. Well done. See, sometimes you just need to get it out and then feel better. Right, nothing going on at this dam. Let's go and see if we can find some lions elsewhere. So there were the freshest tracks we've seen this morning of female lions coming down this way along the road towards the top there. I suspect they've gone into the north there. They may have gone down to the south and maybe towards where those cubs were being kept. Of course, we know the cubs were just north of the dam yesterday. So we might have to go back to where we had those original tracks and see if they aren't around there. If I don't find any further tracks on this road, in fact, I think we're probably going to go back. There's also a real dearth of other mammal life in this particular area, so maybe about this and they've booked out towards some other less predator-rich environs. All right, let's go across to Brent. Apparently our signal is not so good here.
Okay, exciting news. And I'm just trying to figure out, and I've actually figured out, I've been for quite a lengthy little walk, but I'm going to show you what I've been looking for and looking at. Now, aren't these just beautiful? There they are, going that way. Queen Karula. By the size of the tracks, I'm pretty confident it is Karula. And they're actually heading through the bush here towards where James is. So I'm going to get hold of him on the game drive radio and ask him to check Warri Pan Road, because I think that's where she's going to pop out if she's moved out of this big block here. If we get no luck, then I'm going to go for a little walk a little later and see if I can find her on foot. All my paraphernalia, blankets and whatnot. And let's get hold of James. James. James, if you're still around Warri Pan, Buffelshoek Dam, could you check Warri Pan Road as tracks of this female leopard cut sort of due north into the block from Drakensberg towards that drainage system off Warri Pan? Okay, copy, thanks. Okay, so exciting. James is actually following lion tracks, so that's fine. We'll follow these ones all by ourselves then. Now, being Karula, she could easily zip back onto the road. I mean, we know she likes to hunt in this area. So let's have a look. Now that the cubs are a bit bigger and she can leave them alone for longer, she's starting to stretch out into areas she hasn't been spending too much time in the last while, which is of course very exciting for us because a lot of those areas are on Djuma. So her last tracks were going straight north in here, and there's a road that runs on the other side, so that's what we're going to check. And of course we got our ears open for any form of alarm calls. Hi, Lev. Lev's wondering, are there any animals that will eat the dung and scat that carpet the bush? Yes, quite a lot of animals, and it all depends on the dung. Quite often when we see the different bird species or little things like mongoose scratching in the dung, she's back. Very typical Queen Karula, back on the road. Okay. And quite often the termites will come up from underneath and start eating the dung. And then the other creatures, oh dear, this is so typical. Okay, she's back. No, she isn't. Yes, she is. It's very typical. She zigs and zags, jigs and jags. And with dung that's not decomposed fully, animals that have bad digestive systems, or not bad, but not very effective digestive, like elephants, lots of different creatures will eat the dung there. And from the carnivore dung, lion and hyena and whatnot are quite often eaten by hooded vultures and other small carnivores if they can find some meat in there. I mean, these tracks are so fresh, I sort of half expect to see her up ahead of us. Let's see where she went now. There's a hyena. Where have you gone, madame? Did you take a shortcut through here? Is the next question. Are those leopard or hyena on your side there? It is leopard. So here we go. Doop, 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 doop. And now where? Did she cross straight across the road? No. Of course, she went all the way here and turned around and went the opposite direction. Which is not the best news for us, because we are not too far away from our eastern boundary. There go the tracks. Whoops. Okay. There we are, yeah. Almost, I say almost, these tracks are so fresh, I almost expect to see her any second. Okay, there go the tracks on the left-hand side, and now on the right-hand side. And now they're coming, oh no, this is now. Now they're coming back this way. Let me just jump out quickly and have a proper look quickly. So these tracks are, you hear that, Dave? Sound like some elephants quite far away. Elephants. Okay, the ones going this way are the most fresh. Let me just notice this was a little bit loose, so let me just tighten that quickly. Okay. Now, this is very typical of the Queen of Djuma, to change direction a lot. specifically when she's hunting, not so much when she's scent marking, but when she is hunting, she does change her direction quite a lot. Okay, they're still there. Still there. Oh yeah, there we go, she's still there. Just getting a bit of extra height. Oh, we got a spider web. Whoop. And she's gone. And she's back. There she is. Now she's gone. Will she come back? That is the question. Now she's back. And she's gone. And she's back. Okay, now, fingers crossed, she didn't go that way. So she must either go right or left, not straight. Let's have a look. Always just double check that she's not watching you when you jump out to go look for her. That has happened to me a few times. Last place I saw tracks was just on this side down there. I don't see any tracks. No tracks. No tracks. No tracks. Male leopard tracks going that way, but they're not as fresh. I know those are from yesterday. What's that over there? Now, if she's got cubs down in the south, she might zigzag and then loop back towards the cubs while she's hunting. Let's just have a quick look over here. The flying Karula. And I know I saw a track just behind the vehicle. There's me. 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. Dave's going to follow me around because he's making life difficult for him, I know. But I just need to see where that last track was. Okay. Dum, 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 dum. Gone. Okay. Now, which way did you go, Queen Karula? She likes to do this to us from time to time. Is that a track there? Quite hard ground. Did she sneak up here? Oh, this is going to take a while to work out, but what I'm going to do in the meantime is just check 100 meters that way, and if nothing, 100 meters that way. And she's more than likely to pop out in one of the directions. It is a beautiful morning, and wouldn't it be nice to have the Queen of Djuma in this gorgeous morning light? Okay, now my head's going to be hung off the side, trying to make sure I don't miss any tracks. Hi, Kyle. Kyle says he hasn't seen Karula in a while. It'd be so nice to see her again. I agree. I mean, we had a brief visual of her in the cubs a 2 nights ago. But it wasn't long enough. I agree, Carl. I'd love to spend some time with the Queen. tracks. We'll check as far as that big marula there. Keep checking in the bush because she could be walking parallel to the road. She often does that. So no sign of her coming out on the road this way. Okay, time to turn around. Let's make sure. Wow, they are really fresh. I mean, definitely from this morning. Crystal clear tracks. Till, of course, when she decides to disappear. And so while I try to figure out what's happening with the queen, let's go see how James's tracking of the other cats is going.
Well, we found tracks, everyone. I went down, she came down here, she had a drink, she or many of she came down, had a drink, and then they've headed off down through there. I think those are the freshest tracks. They are all the way up and down here, and it's difficult to tell which is which. Anyway, they've gone down through a very nasty block there. Maybe they've turned south onto Nyala Road. Let's go and have a look there. We might be lucky, but there'll be something else for us to look at regardless. Unfortunately, this vehicle is going to give us a little trouble through this section. Not much signal here. So I think we'll have one last look around here, and if it's no good, then we're going to carry on. If we can find at least some signal. And I don't know if Brent told you earlier today, but Mvula was around Sydney's dam, which is unfortunately not where we can go, but with a female. Fascinating. Don't know who she was. Maybe they're mating. It would be very unusual for an unterritorial male to be mating, but it would be fascinating to see. Of course, unusual simply because we don't know that it happens. Did Kirsten speak there? Sorry, I've got half Game Drive in my ear and half not. Right, let's just drive along here. We'll see if we're lucky. We might not be. We might be. And if we do lose signal, I apologize in advance. We'll go to eventually leave this area, I think, and go and find somewhere where we can get a more reliable picture to you. You might even consider heading to Arathusa. Many hyena tracks. Oh, I did go to the hyena den early this morning to see if the hyena was there. She isn't. There wasn't anyone there. It might be worth going back there to check a little bit later. There are no lion tracks here. Now, my suspicion was that she'd come down here. James, Richard, a nice question from you about, or a hypothetical one about they have the instinct to migrate. I think they absolutely would. It's the same species, it's just a different subspecies of wildebeest, and our wildebeest down here certainly used to migrate all the time. So, yes, I've got no doubt that they would probably migrate there and survive quite successfully. Sorry about this, everybody. Perhaps something has pushed over the Gauri repeater, just like the elephants have pushed over this marula tree. Our technical team is rushing around madly trying to fix it, and we'll be back with you as soon as we can.
I still don't know what's going on here. I mean, I cannot find another track after that last one. Until right now. Sneaky Karula. Oh, you just walked just off the road here. Okay, now there's the last track. Now where do you go from here? Bum, bum, bum. No! I didn't see any tracks here. And someone else has driven here this morning. That is why we missed those tracks. Aha. Oh dear. Into Torchwood, but we've noticed how she zigged and zagged, so we're going to head east. She might definitely come back onto Djuma. If not on the sunrise safari, almost certainly on the sunset safari. There's always a chance. Okay. Hopefully, we're going to find her hunting parallel to cheetah cut line. Now I'm going to try and show you what I'm looking at. Now you can see how difficult tracking can get, and I'm going to show you what Karula's track looks like on slightly harder ground. Okay, let's go. Let's find that little piece of grass there, Dave. Let me see if it's the same one. Yes. Now come across. There we go. I'm going to show you with my finger there. So that's still on relatively soft ground, but you can see how difficult it can be to spot those. And the next track, and I'm going to show you now, I've lost it for a second. There we go. So just above that one, Dave, there. There you go, you can see that's a bit of a clearer one. But she is hunting, so she's looping in and out of the area. And that's why quite often we need to get out and be on foot, because from the car it's near impossible to see those tracks sometimes. Now, hi Boaty. Boaty would like to know, is Tingana Karula's mate, or is it her son? No, he's not related to Karula anyway. He does mate with Karula, but Karula will have multiple mates. Female leopards will mate with multiple males when they're in estrus. So he is one of her mates, but he is the dominant male for actually almost all of her territory. So you could probably call him the mate. Let me just get on the radio quickly. Just let the guys know if there's anyone working down in Torchwood that they might possibly find her. But I'm still quite confident she might pop back out onto Djuma. So we're going to keep checking here, and while we do that, let's go see how James is doing.
Well, we're doing okay, I suppose, everybody. Sorry about that lack of signal. I think we were talking about the wildebeest migration and whether or not our chaps would, or our wildebeest would manage there, and the answer is yes, we think certainly they would. And I mean, they're only a different subspecies because they've been separated from each other, two separate populations that have just diverged very slightly from each other. They'd certainly interbreed very successfully with the brindled gnu, which you find down in East Africa. Now, we're on Hyena Road. The tracks of the lions are heading across this way. We'll see if we can't pick them up crossing this road, or ideally lying on the road with their cubs in the golden dawn sunlight. Just doesn't tend to work out that often like that, does it, Jandre? No. Many civet tracks, many old lion tracks. Now, of course, one can see a civet track and think, ooh, there's a baby lion track. There's a male lion track here. They're not very fresh. Alas. Alas and alack. So this is going to be our last pass for the lions, everyone, because our signal has been so too dodgy around here. Otherwise, we'll go and see what else we can find. We'll go and have a look on Aratuza and find out. I've yet to meet Zara, by the way. So there's an elephant up ahead, which is marvelous. We're going to stop and look at that. But apparently the Nkuhuma Pride, Brent has managed to get an update, has just killed a buffalo at a dam. So yes, that is the direction in which they're heading, but really a few miles from here, probably about, well, I don't know, 5 miles from here. They moved a long way last night. I'm sure those cubs are still right near the dam. Let's stop and look at these elephants. What do you say? Do you think it's an Asiatic elephant?
I think a crossbreed with a new species.
Yes. Now the reason I say that, of course, is because she's very clearly lost half her ear. You see that, everyone? Bad luck. I wonder where she lost it. Probably tore it, and then there was probably an infection, and that would have resulted in, I don't know, maybe it got tore off further. It may also have been torn off. It doesn't look like a fresh wound at all. Could have been torn off when she was a calf. That's most likely. Actually, it looks like there's no sort of fresh wound. There's definitely no obvious tear. I don't remember seeing this cow before. They're all eating the silver cluster leaf now, which they wouldn't, you know, in the summertime, and trying to get at the bark, trying to avoid too many of the leaves. Although as I say that, she takes a great big mouthful of leaves. So maybe I'm talking nonsense. I'm very clearly talking nonsense. Quite tannin rich, and I suppose this time of the year, just before they die, these leaves, the tannins are that much less. Well, I'm glad we managed to find something today. It's good to see an elephant or two. And she really does look most Asiatic with her small ear. And to those of you who don't know, of course, Asian elephants are very different from ours, in so much as they have much smaller ears. And they have much smaller ears because they don't need their ears nearly so much for keeping themselves cool. And our elephants have to have ears to keep themselves cool. Simply because they live in the shade like an elephant does.
Got a problem with the mic?
Got a problem with the mic. Like that.
Just check the battery.
Can you not hear me?
Put you on top mic.
Sorry, everybody. Oh, I'll tell you what it is. There we go. I pushed the mute button by mistake. I think we're going to sit with these elephants, and I think rather than waste too much time, let's send Brent across to the lions at Red Dam, and he can get there quickly and rusty with some reliable signal, and we'll stay here with the elephants. That's really quite exciting. I also just want to tell Bernie, because I think Bernie, who's just behind us from Buffelshoek, has been looking for the lions. Bernie, apparently Nkuhuma Pride is on Arathusa now. Look at her long eyelashes. Yeah, that's a very old injury on the back of her ear there, you can see. But she's also looking quite skinny, and I think that's purely a function of this drought that we're having. She's not looking particularly healthy, I don't think. Anna Marie, you say you were watching the elephant cow's temper tantrum yesterday, and for those of you who don't know what she's referring to, we had a clip during the fireside chat of an elephant cow that Jamie witnessed in the morning attacking a youngster, and attacking the youngster, well, young bull, probably 8 or 9 years old, she reckoned it was, and this young elephant was pushed to the floor and then kind of held down and pinioned there by a very angry elephant cow. We were postulating as to why and how that should have happened. And Anna Marie, you say you were so astounded by it, you watched it 7 times. It was amazing to see. I don't think it's that unusual, as Brent was saying. You know, it's quite possible that it happens all the time, but we just don't see it. And we know that elephants, older elephants, play a huge role in disciplining the younger ones. And so I think what you probably find is that that older one was just disciplining a young bull who'd perhaps been sassing her, or perhaps been sort of less than polite. This is a lovely sighting, and they're so relaxed. We're often asked, shouldn't we be a little bit more careful around elephants, or aren't we worried about elephants? And yes, of course you've got to be careful around elephants, but as long as you're not over complacent and you watch their body language, you're normally okay. And so we're just watching them carefully. Certainly when we arrived, that earless calf wasn't that pleased to see us. Kyle, nice one from you. You're interested in whether that ear, that sort of torn off ear, is going to affect her hearing. Kyle, I'd say almost certainly not. You know, they hear through the hole. Genre, if you can just get in on her ear there, if you don't mind. That's where they hear from. You can see the hole, much the same as our ears, sort of are open onto the outside with a flap at the back. And so even if you cut that in half, I don't think it'll make a huge difference. Of course, her ability to sense sound from different directions, I suppose, would change. So I imagine those ears, quite apart from being very effective air conditioning for the blood that flows to the brain, probably very good at sort of directing the sound. So if you don't want to know what I mean, go outside, not right now of course, but go outside after this drive and cup your ears with your hands. So cup your hands behind your ears, and you will notice that you can directionalize the sounds. You can pick up sound coming from whatever direction your hands are cupped towards much more effectively than you can just by listening. And I imagine elephants open their ears out in the same way, and so what we consider sort of very subtle, just sort of ear flapping, is probably them sort of channeling the direction of sound towards their ears so that they can hear what's going on. So from that perspective, I suppose it would absolutely affect their hearing. Thank you for that, Kyle. It's a really good question. I didn't think about that. I only thought about the fanning motion. Beautiful, calm, easy sighting. You can hear them hardly moving. She's big. She's a fully grown cow. She's probably about 4.5 tons. She really does have a seriously Asiatic look about her, though, with that. Sorry, Susie, I'm afraid I slightly missed your question there. Kirst, can you go again with it? I thought I had it. Ah. Susie, you say with all the veins in the ear, would they bleed when it was torn because they've got so many veins in their ears? I don't... Yeah, I suppose they must do. But I think you probably find it heals very quickly, because I'm sure that, you know, the body is sort of adapted to deal with that. He's very... She's very close to us, so we're going to watch her body language. She seems to be relatively comfortable with us. Well, she's eating Albizia harvii, which elephants love. You know, in areas where there aren't elephants, it grows into enormous trees. But out here, not a chance. Not with all the elephants around. And you can see how massively important they are to the ecology of this area. She's so calm. And of course, I've said this before, but you know, 20 years ago, or 10 years ago even, you didn't go into an elephant sighting like this unless you had a definite forward escape route, unless you could really make sure that you could get away if something went awry. And while we're very careful still, always watching their behavior, they're just so much more confiding, so much less likely to get upset with us than they were sort of 10 years ago. They've become much, much more habituated to vehicles and our voices and the smells of the cars. And obviously these ones like to be on TV, don't they, Jean-Andre? Yeah. Yes, TV elephants. Very little going in the way of birds. And it's really warming up quite nicely now as you sit here in the sun. And I'm afraid I've forgotten that word. There was a wonderful, wonderful word for the warmth of the sun on a cold winter's morning. And it was apricity, that's right. Thank you, Kirsten. Apricity. So I'm really enjoying the sense of apricity that has enveloped me. Are you, Jean-Andre? Are you enjoying the apricity? No, you see, I can hear Jean-Andre sighing with joyful apricitousness. Sneak slightly forward. And Shannon. Fine. You'll find that, yes, she probably does struggle to keep herself cooler slightly, elephants would, but not hugely. I think she will be able to stay pretty cool, but, you know, they adapt, and while she won't be able to stay as obviously cool as an elephant that doesn't have the same problem as she does, you'll find that she manages just fine. In the same way that elephant cow, who has no trunk, or who only has 2/3 of a trunk, is somehow able to get by. And I think this is far less of a disability than not having a trunk, for example. I just think that's a lovely picture of her, almost completely hidden behind the bushes there. Knowing eyes. I don't know why it is that elephants look like they've got such knowing eyes. Cale, you're in Missouri and you're saying yesterday Jamie told you that elephants, youngsters, have got better eyesight than the adults. You want to know if there are any other animals like that? I was unaware that that was the case, and I think I've read it before. I'm not convinced that it's true. I'm not sure where it comes from. There are obviously lots and lots of different theories and different pieces of information that people gather and don't gather during the course of a long guiding career. I've read that before and I've remembered it now. I'm just not convinced it's true. And I think it's very unusual. It would be very unusual for an animal to have better eyesight as a youngster. And I certainly don't know of any other animals. If you think of something like a white rhinoceros, they normally have a situation where, there's this little calf coming around here, they normally have a situation where the calf runs in front of the mother. And that may have given rise to the thought that they have better eyesight than their mothers. I don't think that's the case either. So yeah, Kale, I'm not sure about that. I'll have to chat to Jamie about why she thinks that's the case. And if it's Jamie, I've no doubt she's got a very good reason for thinking it. So it could well be something that I've just missed. But I'm certainly not aware of it being a reality. Now, they are mangling something called a Combretum herreroense here, which is normally not really summertime forage, very much wintertime forage. And it's always interesting to see what they're eating, the elephants, because although they seem like they eat just about anything, they are actually pretty selective about what they eat. And these two are feeding now only about 10 meters from us. You know, they're really pretty close by and totally ignoring us. Andre, would you like me to sneak forward very slightly? Yeah. You may have heard Andre replying there. He went, yes, which meant yes, please.
Thank you, James.
I do what I want. Chris, but of course you're right. Sorry about that, everybody. We'll remain in a slightly dodgy signal area. You were quite interested in why it is that she seems to have a missing trunk as well. Not trunk, a missing tusk. And you make a very good point. And I don't really know what had happened to it. I suspect it simply got broken during her feeding at some stage, while she was feeding. Okay, we're just going to be quiet now, everyone. Just to give her a chance to go by. All she's saying there is, I'm trying to get past you. Please don't disturb me. And she's going to take her calf with her now. She turned. She called the calf. It was in an almost imperceptible movement. She called the calf away. And they've now moved off. That was wonderful to see. That's really very special, everyone. I'll tell you what happened there. She wanted to get by, she wanted to go past us, and she had to go within sort of 5 meters. She had to close the distance to within 5 meters of us. So she stopped, and she turned her head towards us, and all she was saying there is, don't move, I'm feeling slightly threatened, so I'm going to walk past you, and that's what she did. She didn't at any stage show any aggression, which I think is fantastic. Then when she got there, she turned like just slightly to her left like that, and she obviously gave some kind of a signal. She must have given a call of some sort, and the little one then followed her away. Wonderful stuff. Alrighty. Let's try and go a little bit forward now. I'm going to have to wait for her to move out the way, though, before we go past here. Oh, nice question from Aussie Gazman. Aussie Gazman, I'm not sure I've heard from you before. Aussie Gazman, you want to know if animals can be short or long-sighted. Can they be... I don't know for sure, but I'm going to say logically that I think it's unlikely that they are... as variably sighted as we are. And the reason for that, of course, is that they have, through selective breeding, those with bad eyes would probably have been bred out of the population. So if you're a human being and you've got bad eyes, certainly in this day and age it's not a problem for you. You just go to the optometrist and he gives you a set of glasses, and then you get on with life. And that means that the genes that provided you with your short sight or long sight will be perpetuated into the next generation. Now, if you were a Stone Age human being, that would have been unlikely the case, because your ability to hunt and forage and find things to eat for your family would have been compromised, and so your genes wouldn't have moved on into the population like they would have now. And so I think you'll find that there were far fewer myopic and long-sighted human beings during, say, the Stone Age. So if you look at something like an elephant, if an elephant was born with short sight and short blurry sight, and we know that many of us have that, you'll find that it would really struggle to survive and therefore struggle to leave offspring. And therefore, the chances of it, that sort of myopia and long-sightedness carrying on in the population would be that much reduced. So I'm going to say no. Yes, I'm sure there's a small variation. I don't think anything like the variation that there is in human beings' eyesight. Much the same as diseases like diabetes, type 1 diabetes, which is being perpetuated by modern medicine. I say that in a kind of negative fashion. I don't mean that negatively at all, but it does mean that the genetics are around type 1 diabetes, for example, which would have killed somebody, say, 200 or 300 years ago, they're not killing people anymore, and so those genes are being passed on into further generations. And I think it's much the same with something like myopia. Righty, I think we might leave these elephants and see what else we can see. Brent is on his way to those lions, I think, so let's go and find out how close he is to them.
Very exciting news. So apparently that buffalo is still alive. So there's a big battle going on between the Nkahumas. Oh, that's... So, radio's going nuts, but I need to listen to it. So we're standby number 4, which is quite far down the line. And you've got to understand, the guys who found it obviously want to stay there. So as soon as possible, we will move towards where that's happening. The buffalo is still alive, and the lions are still fighting with it. So very exciting. It's happening just to the northwest of us here. But in the meantime, we're going to take a little peruse around and wait our turn very patiently. Not so patiently. I've got ants in my pants. I would be lying if I said I was very calm and patient about waiting. But we will wait patiently, attempt to wait patiently. In the meantime, we'll have a quick look around Red Dam, see what's happening in that area. Well, hello, Mary Edwards. Mary Edwards is asking, are these the same people who did Safari Live on Nat Geo Wild during Father's Day weekend? It was us, Mary, guilty as charged. So we do it every day. Strange enough, so not only on Father's Day weekend, but on WildSafariLive.com, we are here 6 hours a day, every day, 365 days a year. So, welcome, Mary. Okay, so we might find something at the water here. I actually haven't been. This is the first time I've been on Arathusa since I got back from leave. And the fact that there are Egyptian geese jetting in at high speed means there's probably still water here. And they landed, so we'll go have a look at them. Oh, no, they're still flopping about. Here we go. An Egyptian goose. Another one is around. Oh, wow. So you have already seen Egyptian geese this morning squawking with James. And there we go, and there's another one. Landed on a nice big knobthorn tree. Actually, both of them have. The other one's just to the right of this one. They are actually quite pretty birds. There we go. Now, I wonder why they landed in a tree. Let's hope that they landed in the tree because there's a leopard lying below. Now, it's very wishful thinking. I haven't seen any tracks or sign of a big cat. There's a hippopotamus. There we go. Hello, hippo. Now, the hippos are going to be severely affected by the drought, and any little bit of water they will utilize. So you probably find the reason this hippo is heading out of the water now is because it's not deep enough to cover his whole body. So he's been in here while it's been cool, and it is a male, and he's going to go find a shady spot in the river system behind to rest up for the day, where he can protect himself from the sun. Well, Deb's wondering, how do hippos find food if they only feed at night? Now, in a drought like this, they actually might feed during the day as well, but not too much. If the sun's out like it is today, it's going to find a nice spot to hide. Now, hippos can do up to 60 kilometers in a night in search of grass. So they'll walk massive distances between food and where they'll rest up. And in droughts like this, it's not uncommon, as I was saying, to find hippos not in water, but lying in thickets, because there just isn't that much water around. So he's heading down towards the river. Let me just go across and see if we can get one last look at him as he disappears there. Just make sure there's nothing else at the water's edge. Oh, there's some birds, but we'll come back for them. Oh, isn't that incredible? That massive animal. Oh, there he is. Let's just pop up here. There you go. So heading right down to the thickets there, you can see the bigger trees and the thick area behind him, and that's where he's going to go try find a nice thick spot to spend the day. Hi, Lucy, who's in South Bend, Indiana. Lucy would like to know, do hippos come into must like elephants do? They don't, Lucy. The females will come into estrus, and then the males will mate with them, but the male hippos do not have a specific must period. I'm just going to edge forward ever so slightly, but I think he's going to disappear out of sight quite shortly. We get one last look at his big bottom. Oh no, he's moving down. It's quite funny, all the big animals, as soon as they hit a slope, they speed up. There's his big bottom. And off it goes. Let's go back to the waterhole, see what's happening there. And quite nice to see a hippo out the water. Now, if we stop up top here, and we can have a look at the sort of terrain that's around us. So this little waterhole is a man-made waterhole and a pumped waterhole, but it's in a little river system. And if we have a look, there's another river system there, and you can see how the trees change as we move through this area. And then you get up to the crest, you can see there's some big, tall knob thorns in the distance. And these little bits of water are going to become so important in this drought. Now, let's go see what birds are down at the bottom. So, there we go. Looks like just some Cape turtle doves at the moment. Oh, Dave, forget the doves for a second. Top of this knobthorn. Right on the point. There we go. Brown-headed parrot. Oh, isn't that gorgeous? Now, basking in the sunshine. Now, the parrots will actually be moving big. Oh, off you guys. Maybe he'll come down for a drink. Wouldn't that be spectacular? I think he's going to. Oh, no, he's landed in the tree there, but I think he's thinking about coming down for a drink. Did you see him, Dave? Have you got him? Yep. Zoom. Up, left. Zoom. Slightly right. There he is. Now, oh, no, it looks like he's found some leftover Ziziphus fruits. And he's feeding off. You can hear the squawk every now and then. Oh. I just need to listen to the game drive radio. Sorry if I'm silent for a second. Yeah, I'm just going to move to the other side of this little dip so I can get better radio comms. Actually, let's go the other way. Really nice to see the parrots. Hi, Debbie. Debbie would like to know how many lions are involved in this killing of a buffalo. I said she was watching the sunset drive, and there were 3 with Jamie trying to catch buffalo. Debbie, I don't know. I'll find out as soon as we get there. It could be the same 3, it could be 4, it could even be 5. There might even be a male involved. Only time will tell. Now, this is the area that hip moved into, somewhere in this thick stuff here. Maybe we'll get another visual of where he's found a spot to snooze from here, but you don't want to put too much pressure on hippo and drive up to them when they are in their sleeping spots, especially in a drought year, because they will be maybe a little bit grumpy. Now, morning, Angela. Angela would like to know, where do the hippos go when there's no water left? Well, Angela, they go into thickets in the little river systems like that, and that's where they'll stay to try and stay out of the sun. And you know, I've worked in areas in southern Tanzania when the river basically becomes a little trickle, and you actually find hippos all around in the bush, sleeping under lots of different bushes. Okay, I just need to be on the game drive comms for a second. Harley. Harley, what's the update on the lineup there? I copy, so confirm it's you, then me, then Andres. Copy, will do. Oh. Hello. Copy, thanks. There's male leopard tracks, very nice ones. Look at that. Oh, you can see they're nice and fresh, probably from early this morning. They're very prominent, sticking out there. Well, let's see where these leopard tracks go while we wait to go see what's happening with those lions. See, which way are you going to go, Mr. Leopard? This way. See the tracks there, Dave? No, you don't. Yeah, they're there. Let's go see where this leopard's heading. So we're in the sort of northwestern area of Arathusa at the moment, but those lions are just behind us. Yeah, the leopard tracks. Are those leopard tracks? Those don't look like leopard tracks. Those are hyena tracks. Hi, Dave. Dave's in Indiana, and Dave says the dirt roads we look on look like they could be old railway right-of-ways. They're not. They're probably originally elephant paths that the roads have been developed on. So a lot of the roads here are old animal paths. So now, instead of being a single-laned elephant path, it's a double-laned elephant path that we have the privilege of utilizing as well. Look like those leopard tracks went off into this block here. So I'm just going very slowly and checking. Now, could be Tingana. It could also be Anderson. Both those male leopards are. Come into this area. This is sort of around the boundary of their territories. Now, Anna Marie is wondering about Mvula. He was actually seen this morning in Buffalo's Hook, but then he went into the Manyeleti. So he's all over the place at the moment. So he doesn't have a set territory. He just bombs around trying to avoid the other dominant males. Oh, hello, impalas. Where's the leopard? He doesn't look like he knows. A male impala. Oh, off he goes. Now, ideally, we want to hear impala snorting to let us know that there's a leopard around. going to check carefully, see if those tracks come out here somewhere. If not, we're going to loop around again and start from the other side. Now, I agree wholeheartedly with Erlene, who says we're definitely due for an Anderson sighting. Wouldn't that be exciting? I've only ever seen him once. He is a monster. The biggest male leopard I've ever seen. No tracks coming out here yet. Maybe he ducked down back towards the Migratory creek system. Okay, now if he's hunting, he might move through this area. I'm just looking for that little dappled pattern, that exquisite rosette markings. Sorry, I just need to listen to the game drive radio. I just need to listen to this, sorry. So no sign of any tracks here, so let's go for a bumble down the Migratory, and then we'll come back up towards the Sibambili boundary, see if there's any sign of anything that side. It's an absolutely exquisite part of Arethusa in this little river system. Now, we're going to keep checking for this leopard, and hopefully we'll get into the Nkuhumas shortly. But while we do that, James has got the cutest of the cute to show you.
Now, everybody, there are some very tiny little lion cubs in there. Very small. Very, very little. Just stand by, Mike, please. They are only, I don't know, probably about maybe 2 weeks, a week old, but they're too little for us to be in here for too long, everyone. Mum is not here. The mother was here, would look at them, but she isn't here. Look, they're tiny, tiny, tiny. Isn't that amazing? Completely look. So, everyone, I'm sorry, but we're not going to hang around here, just simply because we can't afford to attract any kind of predator here. We don't know if that's going to happen, but we don't want to disturb the area. They obviously won't be able to hear with vehicles driving in and out of the area. So let's just sit here for 1 more minute and marvel this unbelievable sighting of tiny little lions. I don't know where Mum is. She's probably part of the crew sitting on... They are so sweet, aren't they wonderful? She's probably part of that crew sitting on Arethusa now. You see their ears aren't even standing up yet. Too sweet for words. And you can imagine how vulnerable they are here, everyone. No mum to protect them. I mean, they'd have no chance. If a hyena or leopard came along here, no chance at all. And that's why they'll be completely silent. I'm going to take one picture, everyone, and then we're going to head out of here. Mike, go ahead. Sorry. Yeah, these are very young cubs, so I think maybe you and Herbie can come in and have a look, and then I think we should probably zone it until the mum's back. They're very small, and definitely only one vehicle at a time, so whoever's closer between you and Herbert. Anya, are these considered newborn? I don't really know that you can say what would be newborn or not, Anya. You mean their eyes are open, and so that means that they must be at least sort of 6 days old. But they don't look like they've been open for long, do they? Okay, everyone, I'm afraid that's going to be it. Wonderful, wonderful sighting of little lions. But I'm afraid we can't hang around here without the mum here. This is amazing. And you know, if we were on our own here and there weren't lots of others around who want to have a look, and then we'd probably sit here. I don't think it would do any harm, but we don't want vehicles coming in and out of the area, and so we can't really afford, it wouldn't be fair for us to just sit here. Amazing. So there were 3 of them there, everyone, just 3, and I mean, yeah, 3 little cubs there, and 3 obviously in the other group, so that makes 6 in Kuhuma little cubs. And remember, we saw 2 when we saw them at the dam the other day, the whole pride. We saw at least 2 of them lactating. That's why. Oof, I'm about to be stabbed in the eye by Wendy, obviously because I've been so nasty to her, or about her. And so that's, yeah, we've got 6 little cubs around. Isn't that great? And with any luck, they'll be spending a lot of time here and not too much time on Buffelshoek, which is very close to where we are now. This is marvellous, marvellous thing to see early in the morning. So the question remains, where are the others? And I don't know the answer to that question. I wonder if they're not in the same system of drainage there. But except they called in cubs last night. I wonder if it wasn't these 3. In fact, I'm pretty sure it was these 3, whereas I just assumed it was the others. I'm just going to call Mike in. Mike, make your way in there. You'll see where the tracks go. Mike, just make your way in. You'll see where the tracks go. Phew! That was worth waiting for. Absolutely. Anna-Marie, you say if we walked over there and picked one of them up, which I must say is very tempting indeed, would we leave our scent on them, and would the mother get upset? We'd unquestionably leave our scent on them. Would she get upset? I think she'd be deeply confused if she got back and her lion cubs smelt like human beings. But Would she reject them? No, I don't think she'd reject them at all. But certainly she wouldn't be that pleased with seeing us or smelling us. If she came and saw you pick her cubs up, then you would be in all kinds of very unpleasant trouble. Yes, a charging lioness is the last thing you want to see. And as I've said to you before, I had a girlfriend like that. It's not very pleasant at all. One just sort of stands wide-eyed, heart beating. Right, let's see what else we can find. I think we're going to head back towards the hyena den now. Unless we go, we're not. We're going to go down towards the south, roundabout where Brent had those female leopard tracks. We might bump her popping out onto the road with her little cubs. That would be a good way to sort of complete our morning. But there's a very nice kudu there, very well hidden. Let's go back here. You see it there, Gendry. Lovely big bull. Look at the size of his horns. He's absolutely massive. Massive, massive kudu bull. Fully grown, probably about 7 years old. They often don't live much longer than that. Beautiful. Wonderful. Thank you, Gendry, for indicating that you were sick of looking at the kudu and coming back to me. Marvellous. Okay. Sorry, the game drive radio is going ballistic in my ear at the moment. Everybody trying to get into that lion sighting, and we're various people trying to just take a bit of control and say, whoa, 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 just go one at a time. Aussie Gaz, man, you're worried about this drought, and you say you hate to think of the day when you come on drive and there are no animals to see. That would indeed be a sad and sorry state of affairs, Aussie Gaz, man. I think you'll find it's an unlikely scenario, and I think it's an unlikely scenario because the predators are going to have an absolute field day at them as the drought wears on, because it's largely the herbivores that are going to struggle. And they're going to struggle because it's them that are going to run out of food first. Only if we have a drought, I think, that is, say, 2 or 3 years in extent, would we have a situation where we'd have all the predators starting to die off as well. So, yes, it's going to get harsh, the landscape, certainly as we go towards the... I'm just looking at the tracks here. It's going to get harsh as we go towards the very end of the dry season. There may even be some die-off of animals. I'm not sure around this area. That will affect the numbers of prey species. They will go down, of course. It's just part of the normal balance of things. I don't think, I mean, it would have to be really severe for us to be able to say, look, anything. Gendry has spotted a squirrel. Sorry, Gendry, he's not being particularly confiding, but I have found you a southern grey hornbill. There he is. That's my. You see, when I point like that, that's I'm looking. He's right. He's on the first tree in front of us there. Unfortunately, Gendry has got eyes only for squirrels this morning and small lions. Beautiful. Very nice. Southern grey hornbill. So a number of you are confused about that sighting, there being no mother there, and how could we go in? Well, we didn't. First of all, Jors and I went in there just to look to see if the mother was there, because that's where we knew the cubs were from last night. So we've gone in there, we had a quick look, we realized the mother wasn't there. We had already impacted the area by being there. By pointing the camera at the lions, it makes no difference. And so what we did was, once we realized the mother wasn't there, we had a quick look, turned around and went back out again. So that's what's happened there. I don't believe we were in any way negatively affected, those cubs, but I think having cars going in and out of there would certainly compromise their ability to see what's going on. And certainly to hear any potential threat. And those are very small cubs. And as from is now towards the afternoon, and so someone will go in there and check this afternoon and see if she has come back. All right, let's go back to Brent to get an update from him. Our signal ain't so great here.
So we're now on standby number 1, but we're still tracking that male leopard. It is being confirmed that Tingana was actually seen earlier this morning, so it is Tingana's tracks, not the monster Anderson. So, and he was seen very close to where we found those tracks before they lost him. So these are really fresh tracks, and I'm just hoping we manage to catch him before he crosses into Simbambili. And we're about to go onto the Simbambili boundary now. We found his tracks heading almost due west. So let's see if we can find him while we wait to go to the lions. Now I wonder if the mom of those little cubs is there. Hi, Marianne, who's in Arkansas. Marianne would like to know, what is the largest recorded male leopard? As far as I know, it's about 100 kilograms, so it's just over 200 pounds is the largest ever recorded male leopard. But any leopard over 85 is considered to be very big. Okay, now hopefully we'll find him shortly. He was going straight in this direction. Some lovely big termite mounds, and Tingana loves to sit on top of termite mounds. So from where his tracks went into the block, it should be almost opposite us now. Okay, so I'm going to check very carefully all the tops of termite mounds, even in the shade. He might have stopped for a rest. I'm hoping he hasn't just marched through. Now, Tingana is a true marcher, like most male leopards, and he's got a massive territory to defend. So he's on a serious walk when he goes off to scent mark to make sure no other males are coming into his territory. I would guess the tracks went in almost directly opposite where we are now. There's a strong possibility he could still just be having a snooze somewhere around here. Okay. Come on, Dave, spot us a leopard. Oh, look at that. Marshall, looks like a Marshall eagle. Or is it? I can't see clearly. Let's wait for the zoom. It's not. It's a, is it? A leopard. Is No, I can't really see it's a vulture. Let me just have a quick look now. And it is the rarest vulture species we get in this area. It is a white-headed vulture. And it's got a very full crop, but I think it might have possibly spotted those incahumas with the buffalo. Look, a quick look down. That's the rarest vulture species we get in this area, the white-headed vulture. Now, I think there's only, if I remember my facts correctly, I could be a bit rusty on it, but there's only 16 breeding pairs in the whole Greater Kruger. They are more common up north in Africa, but in this area, not so much. And they've definitely spotted those incahumas by the looks of things. So they're circling above, or maybe they haven't. Maybe they're a bit slow this morning. But let's keep checking for Mr. Tingana. Now, while we check for the leopard and wait for our chance to go see the incahumas, James has got something that tries to avoid Mr. Tingana at all costs.
I'm not sure what the Tingana reference is all about, but hopefully he'll pop out and devour one of these things as we sit here. Of course, it is compulsory when you live in the bush to stop for impala at least once a day. And here is our impala sighting. 3 stunning males. And they just formed a little friendly bachelor herd here. Their testosterone levels having plummeted after the rut. Although yesterday, you know, I went for a very nice walk in the morning, and there was a great deal of rutting behavior going on, which was very odd for this time of the year. Go a little bit forward. And the big thing, of course, is to check what is their condition like. How do they look? Do they look like they're struggling at all with the drought? Or do they look like they're okay? These two have disappeared, all 3 have disappeared now into the drainage. But you say, I'd say they're doing fine, you know. I don't think that they're looking too rough at the moment. Justin, you want to know what percentage of animals die off during a major drought. Justin, it's almost impossible to say. What are we looking at there? A monkey. They're a bit far. Okay, never mind, everyone. Justin, it's impossible to say because, you know, what is a severe drought? Is it 1 year? Is it 2 years? Is it 3 years? During a drought like this, I don't know. I think it's quite difficult to say. I think you might have, say, in the hippo population, you'd have quite a severe die-off. If left unchecked, I suspect you'd probably have a die-off as bad as maybe 20% of hippo in the Kruger National Park, which is a huge number of hippopotamus. I know lots of them have died, maybe not that many, say 10%. Buffalo, maybe sort of around 5%, so the water-dependent animals like buffalo and impala and zebra, well, they're going to have a much larger die-off than the others. But then animals like eland and steenbok and kudu, which aren't so water-dependent, I think you'll probably have maybe 1 or 2% will die off as a result of this particular drought. If it continues for another year, well, that's obvious, it'll go much higher than that. Right, we're heading towards the Djuma Dam pan now, and we're going to go over the dam wall and straight towards the high density. Mary, they wag their tails, we think. Oh, man. Mary, they wag their tails, we think, to get rid of... Hello? Right, sorry, I was just arrested slightly by that technical glitch. Mary, they wag their tails to get rid of ticks, believe it or not. So there's a theory, and I think it's quite a good one, that you know that they have those two black stripes either side of the tail, and that black stripe is warmer than the rest of the body, than the white around it, and it's directly in line with the wagging tail, and so the ticks congregate where it's warm, and then the wagging tail gets rid of them. How true that is, I don't know, but I think it's probably quite a good idea. The fact that they're not long tails like, say, a zebra or a wildebeest or a giraffe tail, which flick round and get rid of the flies, I think lends credence to the fact that they could well be getting rid of ticks. Into a position here where we can have a look at these nyalas. Be quite nice through here, through the trees. Is that any use to you, Jean-Andre, or is the tree in the way?
In the way of one.
Oh, there we go. There she is. She's looking at us with a deep sense of suspicion. Why are we stopped here looking at her? What on earth would we be doing that for? They are the most beautiful, I think. All right. Now, we know that they're struggling to find things to eat, and we know that, yeah, you can see eating a scraggly stick. And troglodytes are known for not only eating grass, and dry times like this, go and have a look at what else they like to eat.
Here we have a young male kudu chewing on what looks to be a buffalo rib bone. Now, with the drought at the moment, oops, sorry, I just need to turn down that radio. It's very loud. There we go. So it's chewing off what looks to be a buffalo rib bone, and that's for calcium. Now, it's not uncommon to find antelope and giraffe eating the bones of long dead, even antelope of their own species. So they're obviously feeling the need for calcium, and specifically during the drought, probably going to feel the need a bit more. Now, you can see, there we go, you can see that the bone a little bit more clearly now. I'm munching away on that buffalo rib. Oh, off he goes. No, not quite yet. I'm definitely not ready to drop his bone. And normally you say it's a dog with a bone, not a kudu. Now the good news is we are now standby number 1. So we are the next vehicle in, and we are quite close to that area. So just got to be on the games already. Ephraim, standby number 3 available behind Ephraim. Standing by. Sibambili, Arethusa cut line quite close to Triple M. Copy, thanks very much. Yay! We're going to the lions! It has been quite a wait, and I think I've been quite well behaved and patient, but I literally have had ants in my pants the whole time. Okay, so the lions are in the Morikeni River. So we were driving down the Morikeni River earlier, where it's quite big and wide, but at this top sections, it's sort of right at the reaches of it, and it's quite narrow and thick. So we're going to go try and find our way into where the Nkuhumas have killed the buffalo. So when we first found out about it, the buffalo was still alive and stayed alive for quite some time. So I wonder how many lions are there, and who's there. Is the mom of the cubs there? Or both moms of both sets of cubs there? We will find out in a few minutes. And so while we rush in towards the lions, let's go see what Commander Bond is up to.
Everybody, sorry about that. I managed to pull my piece out, but it's back now, and we're heading towards quarantine clearings. Finally, Brent is managing to get into that lion sighting, and of course that's not an aspersion on Brent at all, but today of murdering a buffalo. Obviously very difficult to drive in there with your guests, find 3 lionesses killing a buffalo, and then convince them that it's a good idea that you have to leave to let somebody else into the sighting. So I'm not vaguely surprised that Brent's taken that long to get in there. At least we're one of the last in, so I don't think that there probably won't be anybody behind Brent. He might be able to stay there for the rest of the drive, but who knows. Certainly a very popular sighting. Nothing too much going up on here. Quarantine clear. There's a squirrel genre. Quickly get it. Oh, it's gone already. No, there's another one. Squirrels everywhere, everyone.
Where are you?
There, you're looking at it, middle of your screen. It's bottom. There, it moved. Well done. Ah, stunning sighting. Squirrels there. Justin, you say, what is the most difficult animal to track? Well, Justin, out here, of the animals we do bother to track out here, it must be a leopard. A leopard is difficult to track because it is light. It does not leave much of a mark as it walks along, and they can be very secretive. And then also, when they are hunting, they don't walk in a straight line. So they can walk across an area like this, turn around, come back, and then go crisscrossing over its own tracks, much like that lioness did today when I finally found her tracks heading off towards this way, the 3 or 4 of them. So it would definitely be a lion. But, I mean, if you were to try and track a squirrel, for example, that would be extremely difficult. If you were to try and track a dwarf mongoose, it would be difficult. And I did hear an amazing story of a tracker here having an argument with another tracker over the identification of a porcupine track. And in order to, one of them said it's a monkey track, and the other said, no, it's a porcupine track. And they said, well, how are we going to sort this out? And they said, well, we're just going to track it, obviously. And so they backtracked it back to its den, and it did turn out to be a porcupine track, and that's how they managed to do it. Now, tracking a porcupine is well beyond my ability, certainly, and beyond the ability of most trackers that I've ever known. So I suppose a porcupine would be quite difficult to track. Basically, I mean, the rule is the lighter it is and the more soft its feet are, the more difficult it's going to be to track. You'll find the bushmen around the Kalahari, the sand bushmen, they'll track kudu for miles and miles and miles, which is absolutely astounding. And we've got some dwarf mongoose here. Ooh, a whole little troop of them there sitting on their den, all their little burrows. Wonderful there. And their little burrows, enjoying the bit of heat coming out from the termites there, the metabolic termite heat. And you can tell, a very peaceful day, very little sound at all. Just the odd virtual starling going quack, 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 quack. Otherwise not much. Now these mongoose would have just come out of their little burrows, sunning themselves. They'd have engaged in some allo grooming. In other words, a grooming of each other, and they'll just now be moving off to forage. They'll be looking for scorpions and millipedes and any other kind of thing that they can get at this stage. And there are just not that many things that they're able to get at these days, because there's not much in the way of insects, very little in the way of fruit, not much in the way of eggs even. And were you to drop a couple of chicken eggs off at this den site every morning, I think they'd be extremely happy. But it does indicate, you know, all the birds, all the mongoose and the squirrels and all of those sorts of animals that you'd think, if you read about their diet, you'd look around us here and you'd think, goodness, There can't be anything for them to eat. Somehow there is. They find all sorts of things to eat. And that's because there's a lot more in the invertebrate or insect world that we know of. Ooh, Brent has not got the lions, everybody. It's very disappointing. He's got something else to show you.
Now we're on our way. We're probably 50 meters from the lions. And it looks like, who is that? Looks like Tingana. Yes. Yeah. Sorry guys, just going to at the moment he was Lanzering Mala. He's now stationary on the Shidulu. He's coming back to the northeast now on the Morven Konzo, coming into the sighting. So we're going to stay with the leopard now while we can, and then we'll go to the lions next. Now this is not uncommon that a male leopard will actually come see if they can hear lions feeding. They come have a look. Look at that, isn't that spectacular? You can hear the impala snorting at him. I just got to... Neil, he's heading back towards parallel, exactly where I last saw you. So he can hear the lions. He keeps looking back down. So we're going to stay with him. We will go to the lions now. Oh, Dave, watch the thorns on your bottom. Okay, I can just make him out through the thickets. Dave, just keep an eye on him there. Can you see him still? Yeah, he is heading, he just went through the thicket. If you come a little bit further to the west, you should get his visual. Okay. There we go, Dave's got him. Here he is. Okay, so now we've got decisions to make. I think let's go. We've been waiting so long to see those lions, so we're going to keep going to those lions, and then if the lions are being boring, we'll come back to the leopard. Okay, now I got too excited there. I've got to figure out where the lions are. Looks like the tracks go that way. Neil, I'm going to head towards those Ngala. Okay. Wow, wasn't that exciting? I mean, it's always no. We've got a lion on the brain. Literally, all we can think about is lions, and then a leopard right in front of us. Okay, now I'm going to follow the vehicle tracks. Much easier than tracking a leopard. So I'm pretty sure where we were following his tracks earlier was not far from here at all. Okay, let's see. Can you see car tracks going this way? Okay, so apparently this is in quite a difficult area where the Nkuhumas are. So I'm just going to see if Harley has got my vehicle audio. No, let's go that way. They did say it was a particularly difficult spot, and there people have got lost, so there's lots of car tracks going in lots of directions. But I think we're on the right track. I can actually smell buffalo stomach content at the moment, so I know we're getting close, and also I can see, let me just get over this here quickly, Harley. So while I try and get in there, let's go across to James.
Unbelievable stuff, that, isn't it? Really quite astonishing. We've come here to the hyena den, and there don't appear to be any hyenas here. which is very, very irritating. Especially as it's our second trip here today. It's warmed up so nicely. I would have thought perfect conditions for a little hyena to be enjoying the sunshine. But I'm afraid the hyena den is entirely inactive. And I had a little suspicion today that maybe I should check the Mvubu Road den. Maybe they've come back here, but I can see plenty of very fresh hyena tracks around the base of this hole. So they are around somewhere. And maybe come through here. And it's quite possible she came back, fed them, went off foraging again, and they've just gone back inside. I mean the little cubs, which are now, what? They must be three weeks old, I would have thought. 3 or maybe even 4 weeks old. The wind's starting to come up. It's interesting, you know, in the last little while, every day we've had these still, well, we've had many days of these still mornings. I'm going to kill you, fly. Still mornings. And then as soon as the sort of heat starts to build a bit, a wind comes through. Everybody, Brent has managed to get to Red Dam and the lions.
So I'm not sure if we're live. We can't actually hear final control. So final control, just give me a click if we're live. Just hold it down for 2 seconds. We're right in the bottom of a drainage line, so the radio signal is not very good. So hold down the radio and count to 5 if we're live. Okay, so I'm just going to assume we're live because I can't hear Kirsten in final control. And we are with the Nkahuma Pride, and apparently there are 6 individuals here. Now, I can only see the 2 lionesses at the moment that are feeding. And so the mothers of the cubs are here on the buffalo kill. It looks like a big old dugger boy that they've caught. That's probably why it took so long to kill it. Now, he's a very big buffalo. So I'm trying to see that others are sleeping in the back. I can just see the remnant, or a belly in the distance. There we go. Okay, it sounds like Tingana is actually getting close to going to Djuma as well. So I'll try to call James in a second. Look at that, look at that. Lipstick, lion and lipstick. Bye. Okay. I know Kirsten's trying to talk to me, but I can't hear her. I'm just going to reverse slightly where my aerial might be a bit higher. Okay. Now, as I said, I'm not 100% sure whether we're live or not. And I'm just going to try. There we go. Okay. I'm just amazing that. I moved a meter and I can hear Kirsty. Let's just get a little bit closer. So I'm afraid it's probably not going to be able to take questions when we're down in the bottom of this riverbed, just because I'm not going to be able to hear, but we'll give it a try. So there we go. She's busy opening up the stomach. Oh, beautiful lines. Now, I can see a 3rd lioness, but apparently there are 4 lionesses, but apparently all 5 are here, plus a male, but I can't see him. And he must be quite full if he's not dominating the carcass. So they're the ones lying up in in the shade behind. Now, nice big buffalo bull, old buffalo bull, probably 12, 13 years old, and maybe suffering a little bit from the drought. And it is a massive feat for these lionesses to be able to take down an animal of this size. Now, we have seen them do it live, but it took quite a long time to kill this particular buffalo. Apparently, he was alive for a good half an hour or 14 minutes while they were trying to kill him. Now, hi, Marianne. Marianne's wondering if it's unusual for a buffalo to still be alive while the lions are killing it. Not at all. I think the longest I've ever seen a buffalo take to die was in over an hour, and the lions were actually already feeding on it while he was bellowing. And it was also a big bull like this. And you can see how she's using her premolars like a pair of side cutters there to cut through the thick buffalo skin. So I'm just going to, so Tingana's crossing her over at the power lines. So you can see if James is close by. So I'm going to just let Kirsten tell him that Tingana has crossed into Juma at the power lines. And I think Ephraim is with him at the moment. Okay, let's try reposition a bit. I think I've got a plan where we can have good comms and a good view. Are you holding on, Dave? Oh, we don't want to get stuck next to a lion now, do we? There we go. Look at that. Whoopsie, sorry, Gilly. Right above her. Isn't that spectacular? So we're right above her on a little ridge. Look at this. Now I'm gonna keep quiet and let you listen to this. So Dave's gonna put the sound up. Isn't that incredible? Yeah, ripping the meat. Look at this, isn't this amazing? So it's not uncommon for not all the lions to feed after a hunt like this. It's been exhausting to bring down an animal of this size. Oh, sorry, just on the radio. Standing by. Copy, thanks, no problem. So the others are resting. I can only see 4. I can't see the 5th lioness, but she could easily be around here. Now, for the Nkahuma's sake, let's hope the Birmingham boys don't find this. And I'm surprised that white-headed vulture we saw earlier didn't spot this. A huge SafariLIVE welcome to Bigger Picture, who's a brand new viewer. Really exciting to have you with us, Bigger Picture. Now, Bigger Picture is wondering, is this not dangerous being this close to the lion? So the lion from her, if we come out a bit there, Dave, you can see here I am, and to her bum there is about Oh, there we go. Dave's got a measuring distance thing. I think it's about 6 foot.
4.9 meters.
No, a bit longer than 6 foot. I think your measuring device is slightly out, Dave. That's definitely not 4 meters. I'd say it's probably 2.5, 3 meters. Yes, well, it also could be because we're on the height here. So the reason it's not dangerous is we're in a car. And a car has only been around for about 100 a year, just over 100 years. So they don't have an instinctive response to vehicles, and they also don't smell like anything they know. So it doesn't smell like any potential danger. It smells like gasoline and oil and hydraulic fluids and stuff like that. And that overpowers most other smells. And lions don't see in detail like we do. So they probably don't know there's a person on the vehicle. It's just this thing that follows them around that is not worth chasing or eating. Now, these lions have grown up with safari vehicles around. Look at that, her head's right inside. And if you drive carefully and respectfully around them, they enable you to get incredibly close like this. And we're just very, very, very lucky to work in an area where the lions are this relaxed. Now, I've worked in areas where lions run from cars, and it's taken me 3 to 6 months to teach the lions that we're not trying to hurt them, that we're not a threat to them. Oh, this is absolutely spectacular. Now, fortunately, these lions are going to be here for quite a while, probably 2 days or so, unless a male joins, or hyenas decide to start chasing them. If there is a male here, the hyenas will stay away, but if there's no male, the hyenas in the right number, I think it generally works out to be 4 or 5 hyenas per lioness for them to chase the lioness off. And it also depends on how full the lions are and how hungry the hyenas are. But I think by the sunset safari, vultures will have descended. I think these trees will be littered with vultures come sunset safari. So they've walked quite a long way from where they were last night. Oh, she's getting angry with the buffalo carcass. Growling the fact she can't get a piece of meat out of there. Now, I think she might have also thought one of the other lionesses was also coming to feed. And lions can be very aggressive with each other around a carcass. Now you can actually see there, that is the hip, the pelvis. You can actually see the bone there. And then through that hole there, you can actually see one of the 4 stomachs. And I'll try to avoid popping that as much as possible, but eventually it will. Now, Cecilia, who's in the UK, is wondering, did any of these lions get injured while taking down this buffalo? Cecilia, it's very difficult for us to tell at the moment. We've only seen one really get up and walk, and she looked fine. The others are lying down in the shade, so impossible for us to tell just yet. I'm sure we will be spending quite a bit more time with them at this buffalo carcass, so and we'll be able to see. Now, I've actually seen this buffalo bull before. Now, if we go to his horn there, Dave, there's a very distinct break on the tip of his horn. I've actually seen this buffalo before. I recognize that horn shape. Munchy, munchy. You can still see there's lots of flies around, and those flies were probably on the buffalo. Oh, are you full as well now? Oh, look at that belly. This is one of the moms. I can see suckle marks on her nipples, so that's probably why she's gluttoning so much. Okay, we're going to move down now so we can see them. Because she's going to have to return to the cubs at some stage. And as the crow flies, I'd say where the den is probably a good 4 kilometers or so. Here we go. can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I can see all 5 lionesses. Oh, next one's taking her chance. So they can sort of eat about 8 to 10 kgs in one sitting. And then they do have a very fast digestive system. And then they'll go rest, and then they'll start feeding again. Let's try a bit further back. How's that, Dad? Okay, there we go. Oh, isn't she gorgeous? Now the reason they're not all feeding together, as I said, you'll probably find some of them have exerted a lot of energy in the takedown of that buffalo. Okay, well, we're going to sit here for the last few minutes of drive, watching the Nkahuma lioness tuck into her hearty protein-filled breakfast. Isn't that incredible that Tingana came to have a look? Now, I've seen this happen in lots of occasions where the leopard will actually hear a lion feeding or hear the takedown and will come investigate and just have a quick look from sometimes quite close by. And it is amazing that they just like to know what's going on. Now, while that lion's munching there, Dave, just come out a little bit, and we were talking about, we saw that hippo earlier, and this looks like one of the shady spots the hippo has used in the past to spend the day. There's a big pile of hippo dung there. Look at that, isn't that spectacular? They actually haven't fed much at all. Just really the rump that's been opened. The lioness has taken time opening the stomach. You can see how thick a buffalo's skin is there. And the belly skin is going to be a little bit thinner than the rest, and it's still a good centimetre or so thick, or even 2 centimetres looking at that. And I'm sure by the time we come back on the sunset safari, I think this is going to be a very different scene. I think that buffalo there's been quite a lot more feeding, and it will be quite a lot more open. Now you can see how fresh the kill is by the fact when she pulls, rigor mortis hasn't set in, and there's still quite a lot of movement in the legs. Now we're about to end the sunrise, not sunset safari, but we will be back here definitely on the sunset safari. Very exciting, nice to have the Nkahumas with a nice big kill. Good for the moms who've got those cubs, keep up their protein intake to keep the milk flowing for those little bundles of joy. But from Dangerous Dave the Dish, Gendre, James, myself, and the rest of the SafariLIVE crew, we'll see you in a couple of hours.